She's addicted to the man she can't figure out, the one who's aggressive in the boardroom but gentle with his dog, the one who quotes philosophy then makes dick jokes, the one who plans everything meticulously then spontaneously drives to Vegas. Your consistency isn't attractive, it's a sleeping pill. Her brain craves the dopamine hit of never knowing which version of you she's getting, and you're out here being predictably nice every fucking day wondering why she's bored. Women say they want stability, but their nervous systems are wired for excitement. Stability is what she settles for after the unpredictable bad boy has destroyed her ability to pair bond. The contrast between different aspects of your personality creates cognitive dissonance that her brain interprets as fascination. When you're simultaneously dangerous and safe, cruel and kind, sophisticated and savage, you become a puzzle she can't solve, and unsolved puzzles become obsessions. Watch how she responds when you break pattern. You've been sweet for weeks, then you're suddenly cold for no reason. You've been predictable, then you disappear without explanation. You've been intellectual, then you're unexpectedly physical. Her hamster wheel starts spinning at maximum speed trying to figure out what changed, what you're thinking, what she did wrong. That mental energy she's burning trying to decode you, that's attraction building. The contrast has to be genuine, not performed. Women's manipulation detectors are finely tuned to spot fake mystery, manufactured unpredictability, or trying too hard contradiction. The guy who's actually complex because he contains multitudes is magnetic. The guy who read about being mysterious in a pickup book and now randomly ignores texts is transparent. She can smell the difference between authentic complexity and autistic gameplaying. Your predictability is killing her attraction because it removes all emotional volatility. When she knows exactly how you'll respond to everything, you become an NPC in her life, a non-player character running preset behavioral scripts. Text her good morning? She knows you'll text good night. Make plans for Friday? She knows you'll confirm Thursday. Have a fight? She knows you'll apologize first. You've become a boring algorithm and algorithms don't make pussies wet. The strength she craves isn't consistent. It appears and disappears unpredictably. Sometimes you're the rock she crashes against. Sometimes you're the storm she weathers. Sometimes you're the calm that confuses her. The unpredictability of your strength makes her constantly test to see which version she'll get, and those tests are investment. Every shit test she throws is her buying another lottery ticket hoping to hit the jackpot of finally understanding you. But understanding you isn't the only thing occupying her mind. Drop one casual mention of your brunette co-worker being helpful with a project, and watch your blonde girlfriend's entire world reorganize around that comment. She'll spend the next 3 days stalking this woman's social media, comparing their bodies, analysing what helpful really meant, and questioning whether you prefer brunettes. You planted a seed of competition that will grow in her mind without any additional watering. Her hamster wheel is now powered by jealousy, and that wheel generates more attraction than 1,000 compliments. The key is mentioning women who are her opposite, not her equal. If she's petite, mention how the tall girl at the gym asked you to spot her. If she's corporate, bring up the artist who invited you to her gallery opening. If she's conservative, casually reference the wild bartender who remembers your drink. You're not comparing them directly. You're just introducing evidence that your attraction patterns might not be as fixed as she assumed. This uncertainty about what you actually want keeps her in constant competition with phantoms. Women understand on a primal level that male attention is finite and valuable. When you demonstrate that other women exist in your awareness, you're signaling that your attention could be redirected. She thought she had you figured out, locked down, categorized. But if you notice women who look nothing like her, maybe she doesn't understand your desires at all. Maybe she's not as secure as she thought. Maybe she needs to work harder to keep you interested. Never make it obvious or malicious. My ex had amazing tits is amateur hour that triggers defensiveness, not attraction. But Sarah from accounting is hilarious. She had the whole meeting cracking up today. That's professional grade psychological warfare. You're not commenting on Sarah's appearance, but her personality is making you smile while you tell the story. Your girlfriend's mind will construct an entire narrative about this Sarah, probably making her more attractive than she actually is. Watch her behaviour after you mention other women. She'll unconsciously start adopting traits of the women you mentioned. Brought up the gym girl, she's suddenly interested in working out. Mention the intellectual who recommended a book, she's asking what you're reading. Reference the feminine traditional girl, she's cooking dinner in a dress. She's shapeshifting to cover all bases because she doesn't know which version of femininity you actually prefer. This insecurity you're cultivating needs to be balanced with strategic validation, but not the kind she expects. You've been telling her she's beautiful every day for 6 months, and now your compliments have the impact of elevator music, background noise she doesn't even register. But tell her once that her friend's dress looked better at the party, and she'll remember that comment forever. She'll check herself in every mirror, second-guess every outfit, and work harder for your approval than she ever did when you were her personal cheerleader. Criticism is crack cocaine to the female validation system. One strategically placed critique weighs more than 100 generic compliments because it threatens her entire self-concept. Women build their identity on male validation, and when you withhold it or reverse it, you become the authority who determines her worth. The man who only compliments is a fan. The man who occasionally criticizes is a judge, and judges have power. The confidence to point out her flaws signals that you're operating from abundance. Only a man with options would risk displeasing a woman by critiquing her. The desperate man compliments everything she does, laughs at every joke, agrees with every opinion. But when you say, that story wasn't as funny as you think it was, or you're being dramatic about nothing, you're demonstrating that her approval isn't your primary concern. You're above her, evaluating her, potentially finding her lacking. The criticism has to be about changeable things, not permanent features. Your nose is big is just cruel and destructive. You've been lazy about the gym lately is motivational because she can fix it. You're not as funny as you think challenges her to be more interesting. That outfit doesn't work makes her try harder next time. You're not destroying her self-esteem, you're making her earn your esteem, which paradoxically builds her attachment to you. But here's the advanced move. Criticize her in areas where she's confident, compliment her in areas where she's insecure. If she knows she's beautiful, pointing out when she doesn't look her best keeps her humble. If she's insecure about her intelligence, telling her she made a brilliant point builds dependency on your validation. You become the authority on her worth by being the only person who both challenges her strengths and validates her weaknesses. Beyond direct criticism, there's the more subtle art of highlighting what she lacks. Your friend Jessica is so organised. She's got her whole life colour-coded in that planner. You just watch your chaotic girlfriend's face subtly change as she processes what you didn't say. That she's disorganised, scatterbrained, always running late. You never called her messy, never directly criticised, but she heard it loud and clear. Now she's downloading productivity apps, buying planners, trying to prove she can be organised too. The indirect comparison is psychological warfare at its finest. When you point out positive traits in other women that she lacks, her brain automatically fills in the gap. Amy's emotional intelligence is incredible. She always knows the right thing to say. Your girlfriend who fumbles social situations now has a new insecurity she didn't know existed. She's suddenly reading articles about EQ, asking you about your feelings, trying to demonstrate emotional depth she never cared about before. Women are constantly calibrating their value through comparison, but they need reference points. When you provide those reference points by praising what she lacks in others, you're essentially programming her insecurities. But here's the genius. She can't get mad at you. You never said she was disorganized, emotionally stunted, or lacking. You just noticed positive traits in others. Her imagination did the damage, not your words. This triggers maximum investment because she's now competing with her own perceived inadequacies. She's not trying to be better than other women. She's trying to become worthy of you by acquiring traits you apparently value. Every weakness you indirectly highlight becomes a project she undertakes to keep your interest. You've turned her insecurities into a self-improvement program she enrolled herself in. But you can't be invulnerable yourself, or she'll never feel safe enough to truly invest. I used to be terrible with money. Blew my entire first bonus on stupid shit and couldn't make rent the next month. You just gave her something every other man tries to hide. Evidence that you're not perfect. But instead of losing respect, watch her lean in closer, touch your arm, ask questions about how you changed. You've triggered her caretaker instinct by showing vulnerability without being weak, admitting flaws without being flawed. The strategic confession creates intimacy that years of superficial conversation never could. When you admit, I get anxious before big presentations, my hands literally shake, you're not displaying weakness, you're displaying trust. She's programmed to respond to male vulnerability with nurturing, but only when that vulnerability comes from a position of strength. The CEO admitting nervousness is endearing. The unemployed loser admitting nervousness is pathetic. Women are biological caretakers waiting for something to care for. When you share a weakness you've overcome or are actively working on, you activate her nurturing instinct while maintaining your status. I couldn't talk to women until I was 25 makes her feel special that you're talking to her now. I still struggle with my father's approval makes her want to be the one who helps you heal. You're giving her a purpose in your life beyond just being pretty. The key is sharing weaknesses that are either conquered or conquerable. I used to be addicted to validation shows growth. I'm working on my anger issues shows self-awareness. I sometimes doubt myself before big decisions shows humanity. But I'm a failure. I can't do anything right, or I'm worthless. That's not strategic vulnerability. That's self-destruction that triggers disgust, not empathy. The timing matters more than the confession itself. Share weakness after displaying strength, never before. After you've crushed a business deal, mention your imposter syndrome. After you've demonstrated social dominance, admit you used to be shy. After you've shown physical capability, mention your old injury that still bothers you. The weakness becomes seasoning on strength, not the main dish of your personality. These calculated vulnerabilities need to be balanced with moments of pure, unscripted emotion. She's used to your composure, your calculated responses, your emotional control. Then suddenly you grab her and spin her around in the rain like you're in some cheesy movie, laughing at how ridiculous you both look. Or you stop mid-conversation to chase a dog down the street because look at his little legs. These moments of pure, unfiltered joy short-circuit her brain because they reveal something she rarely sees, the boy inside the man who's been programmed to hide. The spontaneous break from your controlled persona creates what women crave most: genuine emotional experience. When you suddenly pull her into a dance in your kitchen while cooking, when you get genuinely excited about finding a perfect skipping stone, when you forget to be cool because something actually made you happy, these moments bypass her logical brain and hit her emotional core. You're not performing masculinity anymore, you're just being human. Women are terrified of ending up with robots who've optimized all the fun out of life. The friend zone is full of men who are so controlled, so appropriate, so predictable that they've become emotional flatlines. But when you show flashes of childlike enthusiasm, genuine, not performed, you signal that life with you won't be a boring march toward death. You're still capable of play, wonder, and spontaneous joy. The physical spontaneity matters most. Words are calculated, but when you suddenly pick her up and carry her to bed in the middle of an argument, when you grab her face and kiss her mid-sentence, when you tackle her onto the couch because she said something cheeky, these physical breaks in control show passion that can't be faked. Your body is overriding your brain, and that primal override is what separates lovers from friends. These moments of lost control make her feel powerful in a way that's completely different from the power dynamic you've been establishing. Stop chasing her and watch her transform into someone you don't recognize. The girl who showed up in sweatpants starts wearing dresses. The one who never cooked suddenly wants you to try her new recipe. The woman who was too busy to text back is now double messaging you. When you flip the script and make her work for your attention, she becomes the best version of herself, trying to earn what she used to take for granted. Women only value what they work for, and you've been giving yourself away for free like a clearance sale nobody asked for. When she has to earn your approval, win your attention, and compete for your time, you transform from a guaranteed resource into a prize worth winning. The shift is simple, but brutal. Stop initiating everything and watch her either step up or reveal she never gave a fuck about you. The effort she puts in directly correlates to how much she values you. When you're always available, always texting first, always planning dates, always pursuing, you're worthless in her economy. But when she has to wonder if you'll text back, when she has to suggest plans or risk not seeing you, when she has to actually be interesting to keep your attention, suddenly you have value that needs to be earned. Set standards and watch her scramble to meet them. I only date women who work out. She's suddenly at the gym. I appreciate when women cook for their man. She's Googling recipes. I lose interest in lazy conversation. She's suddenly asking deep questions. You're not demanding these things. You're just stating preferences and letting her decide if she wants to qualify. Most men are so desperate they'll accept any behavior. When you have standards, she has to become worthy of them. These standards become even more powerful when you establish them as boundaries. I don't date smokers. Watch her scramble to hide her vape, suddenly become interested in quitting, start chewing gum obsessively. You didn't ask her to change, you just stated your standard and let her decide if she wants to meet it. That's the difference between controlling and having boundaries. Controllers demand change. Men with boundaries simply state what they'll accept and let others self-select in or out. Your boundaries are your masculine frame that she either enters or doesn't. I split the check on first dates, immediately filters out women looking for a free meal. I don't text all day sets expectations about your availability. I don't do drama makes her check her chaotic behaviour. These aren't negotiations, they're declarations of how you operate. She can take it or leave it, but she can't change it. The power in boundaries is that they demonstrate you have options. Only a man with alternatives would risk losing a woman by maintaining standards. The desperate man accepts any behaviour because he's terrified of being alone. But when you say, I don't tolerate disrespect, and actually walk away when she crosses that line, you're showing that your self-respect matters more than her presence. That's the ultimate demonstration of value. Women test boundaries like raptors testing fences, systematically looking for weaknesses. She'll show up late to see if you'll wait. She'll start drama to see if you'll engage. She'll disrespect you in small ways to see if you'll accept it. Every boundary you maintain is a test you pass. Every boundary you compromise is respect you lose. She doesn't actually want you to bend. She wants to confirm you won't. But boundaries without enforcement are just suggestions. When you say, I don't tolerate lateness, then wait 40 minutes for her, you've just announced you're full of shit. When you say, I need respect, then accept disrespect, you've trained her that your words mean nothing. The enforcement is what gives boundaries power. Walk away from the restaurant if she's late. End the conversation if she's disrespectful. Leave the relationship if she crosses major lines. The ultimate boundary is your exclusivity. She asked, what are we? After 3 weeks, and you said, we're having fun. Watch her entire energy shift from comfortable to competitive. Suddenly she's texting more, dressing better, fucking like her life depends on it. The possibility that you might have other options transformed her from lazy girlfriend mode into active recruitment mode. She went from assuming she had you to working to lock you down. Exclusivity is her goal, not yours. She wants to secure your resources, attention and commitment before investing fully. But when you give that security too early, she stops trying. Why would she put in effort when she's already won? The chase is over, the prize is secured, and now she can relax into taking you for granted. You just played yourself by removing the one thing that made her work competition anxiety. I'm not looking to rush into anything serious makes her hamster wheel spin at maximum speed. If you're not rushing to lock her down, you must have reasons. Other women, higher standards, options she doesn't know about. The ambiguity creates anxiety, and that anxiety manifests as increased effort to be the one you choose. She's no longer competing against your standards. She's competing against imaginary women who might take her spot. The scarcity mindset you create isn't about playing games. It's about maintaining value through supply and demand. When you're exclusive immediately, you're announcing infinite supply of your attention for her alone. When you remain non-exclusive, you're limiting supply while potentially having multiple sources of demand. Basic economics, limited supply plus high demand equals increased value. You become more valuable simply by not being guaranteed. The other options don't even need to exist, just the possibility that they might. When your phone buzzes and you don't immediately check it, she wonders who it could be. When you have plans on Saturday night that don't include her, her imagination runs wild. When you mention a friend without specifying gender, she assumes competition. The hint of other options is more powerful than confirmed other options, because her imagination creates perfect competitors she can never measure up to. The timing of eventual exclusivity becomes your nuclear option. When you finally choose her after she's worked for it, proved herself, earned it, that commitment hits like a drug. She didn't get it by default or desperation. She won it through competition, and things people win feel infinitely more valuable than things they're given. Your exclusivity becomes her trophy, and people take care of trophies way better than participation ribbons. These vulnerabilities aren't about manipulation, they're about understanding female psychology at a level that lets you create genuine attraction instead of negotiated desire. Every woman has these psychological patterns, these emotional triggers, these vulnerabilities that determine who she chooses and why she stays. Master them, and you master the game. Ignore them, And you'll keep wondering why being nice, available, and consistent gets you nowhere while the arsehole who does everything wrong has her obsessed.